Nobody thinks ahead about the fact that one day you might have a problem and you will need legal assistance. Situations like these are very stressful and you want to find out who can help you best. It's crucial to find a person who is skilled, who you can trust and who understands your problem, but also someone who you can afford. Jaap has been in the business for a long time and is highly recommended in Amsterdam. We are going to pay him a visit and see what makes him so good at his job.
So welcome, Martijn. If you have the possibility, I'm always going to sit on the bench with my clients. It's much better than in a meeting room, so you can relax.
In your office, AVC lawyers, civil law is the main discipline. Real estate and your civil law is woven. Can you explain more about this?
Yeah, well, what we do, especially in the civil law, is actually what you see behind you: houses, offices, and all the problems which come along with those problems. And of course also labor law and other simple disputes with your neighbors. But one of the main things we do is problems with buying houses, renting out or renting houses, construction problems.
Do you have a lot of international clients?
Yes, absolutely, and they're not really familiar with the Association of Owners. So first of all, it starts with explaining how it works here in a lot of houses in Amsterdam, also in the rest of Holland, but yeah, especially in Amsterdam. You have to help them.
You're the type of lawyer that also will say no to a client. That's typical Dutch, to be so direct. We're known in the Netherlands for directness. Mm-hmm. What's your stand on that?
Well, that's absolutely true. We are pretty direct. But first of all, I always tell customers no is also an answer, or no is also an advice. Because you don't buy anything at all if I'm taking you along big procedures with a lot of money that I already know that it's not going to happen. So when you think out of your experience that no is also an answer, just give it to them. So yes, of course, it's pretty Dutch, but it's also the character of me and of our office. We are pretty straightforward, no nonsense. We'll tell you where you stand in your problem. But it also helps you to make better choices if we are pretty direct and tell you where you're rather right or wrong, absolutely.
Now that is honest, I must say, because in my personal opinion, I thought lawyers could also be always billable and keep the case ongoing. So actually, in the best interest of your clients, the no saves them money.
I will tell you, I've never lost a client by being honest. It gave me a lot of new clients, because people say, at least he will tell you if you have a good case or not. So actually, I think at the end, it helps people to be direct, to just tell them what they are. So Martijn, as I already told you, we do a lot of cases about the Association of Owners, and I'm going to take you for a walk and I'll show you and to give you an idea how it works.
Great.
Yes? You're just walking right now. Do you know what this is?
I think I know.
Yeah.
It's the stolpersteinen.
Correct. These are stones of messing, and it's supposed that you triple to let you know what happened. And this is from the Second World War. And here's the name of the people, when they were born, where they were taken to, and when they were being killed in that camp. And why I'm telling you this, because we're just walking here and we would have passed by. This is an important detail. I can tell you a lot about Association of Owners, which I will show you here right now. But to understand it well and to help people well, you have to have an eye for details. So, and I'll show you what I mean with the Association of Owners. This is what you see a lot in Amsterdam. Multiple people living in the same apartment building. Everyone has his own house, like here on this floor, 1, 2, and most of the times 3, and on the 4th floor there are the storages. So everyone has to tell something about his own apartment, but the construction of this building, but also these stairs and the doors, is an association of owners, which means they have to pay the costs together. So if the floor has a leakage, number 3 has also to pay for it, but if the roof is leaking, the one living on the 1st floor, for example, has also to pay for it. So And that's a way of living in Amsterdam, which is very important to know that when you're living, what your rights and your obligations are. So you have to pay every month for it, so they can paint the whole building, and they can do all kind of maintenance through the years. And it gives also a lot of trouble, a lot of disputes here in Amsterdam, because the neighbors not always agree with each other.
Your clients immediately seek legal aid when these disputes arise?
Yeah, sometimes the association themselves, the board, are calling me, and sometimes one individual owner is calling me. And most of the times they want to know what are my rights? How does it work with voting? Is the majority telling how it has to be done? Or do we have any instruments to change the behavior of one of the individuals? So a lot of questions come around. What do we have to do? What are our rights? How do we have to act? Because if you're in the board, a lot of times you're also one of the members, and they're also your neighbors. So it's not only juridically, but also how to keep the relation between the neighbors as well as possible. And that's not always that easy.
Does it lead to court cases?
Yeah, one of the reasons it leads to court cases is because the decisions they make in meetings, if you don't agree with it, you have a 30-day time to go to court. And after that time, you cannot do anything about it anymore, about the decision. So that's legally the way it is, but it also doesn't give a lot of opportunity, a lot of time to solve it together before you go to court. So yeah, sometimes you're already there and then you start talking.
Yeah, but after a hard day's work, property, law, I can imagine it's tough. What do you do after a day's work?
It depends. Sometimes I go for sporting, like playing tennis, and sometimes, even if it's better, I like to go for a good glass of white wine. So, shall we take one?
I'm in.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah. When clients reach out to AVC lawyers, they know they have a problem. It's a big or small issue. They're full of emotion. Your office, you help them out. But how do you deal with their emotions, and is it an emotional job?
Well, your first question, how do you cope with it? If people are emotional, you have to listen. First, you have to listen very well. Why is there emotion and where does it come from? And the next part of my job is how do I translate those emotions into a legally case? So how can I address the emotions and to achieve the result? And yeah, of course, sometimes there is not enough space in our legal system for the emotions, but meanwhile, I still can legally address it and help their case. And you would be surprised, but people telling you how they feel emotionally, if you listen well and you understand it well, it's half of the case.
You have this client. It's a decent case. What comes next? Will it be a roll in the park? What's your approach on this?
The first approach is always to try if you can settle it with the other party. It saves a lot of time, it saves a lot of energy, and most of all, it saves a lot of money for my client. But unfortunately, a lot of cases, you have to go to court. And if you have to go to court, you fight like a tiger. That's pretty simple. You want to win the case. But to be honest, even when you're on a case and you are at court, sometimes it's then even better to settle in the court case itself. As long as, that's always good to remember, as long as you keep in mind what is the result your client wants to achieve. That's actually the main target for me, always. The funny thing is that the smallest cases, they are the most
gratification.
Yeah, absolutely. They without asking me, they're sending presents to my office. Those are the moments that you know, okay, this is why I'm doing this.
Can I then state that you walk the extra mile for your customer?
To put it that way, yes. Actually, it is, yeah.
That makes you the unique guy to go to.
Well, at least it makes me the guy not only for your legal affairs, but also to help you solve the problem.
I'm really pleased to hear all this, that you are a go-to guy. You're the go-to guy not only in Amsterdam, but even in great big Amsterdam. So for all the customers who are in need, real estate, civil law, labor law, contract law, you're the man. You're the man to go to.
Well, thanks for the compliment.
Thank you for this conversation.
You're welcome.